What is up, everybody? Welcome to another replay analysis slash commentary. This time it's going to be Wings Gaming versus Team VG.J, TI Champions versus VG Gaming, sponsored by alright, Jeremy Lin. Alright, I almost forgot his name. Jeremy Lin himself, VG Jeremy Lin, with ROTK, of course, and Fenrir as well. I'm not sure if these are other known players, but I cannot read Chinese, so to whatever yellow player as well as orange players' names are, I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes with casting Chinese Dota. And I know it's Shadow, Blink, Faith, BN, Ice Ice, and Innocence, or Y dot. Alright. Alright, let's just get right into it. With the banning, Wings Gaming do ban off an Axe as well as a Ricky. The last game I casted also ban off Axe, so I guess they really don't enjoy playing against that hero. Hero that really can get a lot done in the laning stage, as well as just being able to just jungle up if he has to and get that Blink Dagger timing kind of on a timer. Really, you really can't stop him from getting the blink. If he's gonna have jungle stacks up, if he's gonna have access to the jungle, he's gonna be able to get that up at a decent timing. Wings Gaming will pick themselves a Slaughter in the first phase, a hero that's blink timing is a little harder to get. You gotta kind of secure a lane for him. You kind of gotta make space for him, give him a lane for a bit, and he's gonna be able to get that blink up. But once he does get that blink up, he can make a lot happen with it. So with that blink crush into amplify damage, as well as having that sprint, allowing him to be extremely mobile, able to catch out heroes all over the map and make really well planned rotations off if you can get a decent lineup with it. And they do pick a life stealer, and that's a perfect hero to go with Slaughter, as he's able to just infest him and they're able to just wreak havoc across the map together. So Team VG.J will ban out Drow Ranger as well as Bounty Hunter. Drow Ranger just being one of the top tier carries this patch, really, just with specifically not as like a carry but as a strat in herself. When you pick up a Drow, you kind of open up this strategy where you're able to just capitalize off your opponent's mistakes, and as soon as you just maybe feed a couple kills away in the early game, that can snowball into tower after tower after tower into Roshan, and they just do not want to play against that, so they ban out the Drow. And it looks pretty interesting that both Invis early game aggressive heroes, Ricky as well as Bounty Hunter, get banned. They provide a lot of information in the early game as well as mid game as well as late game as well. Just throughout the entire game, provide a lot of information for your team in terms of scouting and being able to put deep wards in the map.
Radiance ban.
Team VG.J will pick up a Rubik as well as a Sand King for their first picks. Rubik being a very solid hero, a lot of people picking it up very early right now, even in the first pick for some teams, as VG.J does. It's pretty interesting, as he is one of the higher tier supports right now, as having that instant disable from Lift is very valuable against heroes like Bat Rider, even Slaughter. Even if you can get vision on them and you instant cast that Lift, you can stop their initiation and really turn around a fight. If you just preemptively cast that Lift, it's really high skill cap hero, allows you to make a lot of plays, and just opens up your draft quite a bit. And the Sand King as well, mostly run in the off lane right now, allows you to just play really aggressively in the laning stage. Some teams even decide to do kind of like a dual lane with the Sand King, and he can really take over the off lane once he gets going. With the Caustic Finale build that's popularized on him now, he can really dominate the lane and transition that into a fast blink, and allows him to really contribute to his team's ganking potential. You don't really see Epicenter used too often on him in the kind of the early game fights. It's really that Caustic Finale combined with his Burrow Strike, instant initiation, and stun that allows him to be really useful. It's not really the farm up and wait for that really nice epicenter. You kind of see Sand Kings even go in first, and they'll use the epicenter when they need to. When there's a nice group of enemy teams, heroes allows him to just dish out that AoE fight and AoE damage in a team fight. But you see a lot of times Sand King going in first, going for the stun, and his team will follow up. And then they'll maybe even get a couple kills with no epicenter, and then once he finds the right moment, that epicenter of course is always available. Wings Gaming do ban up Ogre as well as a Morphling. Morphling not seen too popular as of recent. His timing just doesn't quite fit the fast-paced gameplay right now. Kind of is a little slow to come online, but of course, if you're gonna run a more split push strategy, more late game oriented strategy, Morphling is a scary hero, and very strong against Lifestealer, able to just pretty much kite him completely, and really no chance of picking him off with a Slaughter Gank as well. If he sees it coming, he can start morphing right away and just replicant out. Ogre, being a top tier support right now, is just providing a lot of utility for his team with a lot of disables, as well as a 60 attack speed buff when max level of his Bloodlust. Just being very strong. They just decide to ban it out. It's one of the top supports. It can go well with any draft really, and they just decide to get rid of it. Timbersaw and Tinker will be banned out by the side of VG.J. Timbersaw being kind of a niche pickup right now. He's not really one of the top heroes, but he does get play, and he can be very annoying to deal with if you don't have quite the draft to deal with him. I mean, Sand King is a pretty good 1v1 against Timbersaw, but I'm not sure what they have planned for the rest of their draft, and I guess they're not really planning on anything that can really lock down the Timbersaw too well, as they do pick up a Dazzle in the second phase, and Dazzle does not fare too well against Timbersaw, as he doesn't really provide any disable for him, and as well as damage to him either. Just having heal potential and save potential for his teammate, but even though you can save them, Timbersaw will just blow them up. Same thing for Tinker as well. So they do get rid of those two heroes, kind of more elusive heroes that are able to dish out a ton of magic damage in a fight, or I guess on the case of Timbersaw is pure damage. But Wings Gaming will now be deciding what they want to pick up, and they will get an Earth Spirit, a hero that is kind of on the on and off right now. Some heroes will, or some teams will pick him up in the first phase. They'll value him highly, but other teams will kind of pick him up if they have nothing else to, or they kind of just pick him up on the off chance that he's a powerful hero with where he can get a lot of things done with his silence, as well as his early game rotations. And we'll see how the Earth Spirit is run by Wings. I believe it will be played by Ice. I haven't really seen him play Earth Spirit. I am confident that he can, but I just haven't seen Wings Gaming themselves play him as of late, or any time in my memory, in all honesty. But they'll follow up that Earth Spirit pick with a Silencer, followed by VG picking up Ursa for themselves. So right now, comparing their drafts, it looks like Ursa can do quite well against Lifestealer. Really just able to just melt him down regardless of his magic immunity, and able to pop his ultimate as well to prevent himself from being bursted, and with Dazzle as well, they're going to make sure that they're able to save heroes as well as give an armor buff to them, which will kind of counteract amplified damage a bit if they can get it on their ally heroes. But right now it still looks like Wings Gaming draft is looking to be a bit more powerful, but it really depends on the play. I would say that what Wings Gaming has going for them is that Slardar and Lifestealer, two very powerful heroes to combo up with each other, but then having Silencer as well as Earth Spirit to counter initiate, as well as follow up the Slaughter initiation. They can kind of blink Crush into an Earth Spirit initiation with a Silence or a follow-up stun, and if they really need to, they can have that Global Silence to just stop any Graves from coming off, or counter initiation by Sand King or Rubik. So right now, it looks like Wings, if they can get their ganks off, they can get the good initiations off. It looks like they have a better draft here, but you can't count out VG.J or VG.J, as VG.J does have a very solid lineup right now. We'll see what they will pick up as most likely their mid laner. They will ban out a Razor, a hero that is notoriously very powerful against Ursa, as Ursa just kind of jumps in, and if he gets static linked up, he loses all his damage, and you just have a bear running around pretty much hitting people with wet noodle claws, and that's not very useful for your team, so they just decide to ban out that Razor, and they don't really want to deal with it. Wings Gaming right now is just deciding on what they should ban last. They'll ban out a Legion Commander and pick themselves a Storm Spirit last pick. So it will be a Silencer support, and VG.J will last pick us Dragonite. So it looks like they're going to go for a push-ish kind of draft, but they don't really have the heroes for it, as Dragonite's really the only hero, maybe Dazzle, that really facilitates pushing. The rest of the heroes kind of want to just fight, so they kind of have like a bit of a hybrid fighting and pushing lineup. They kind of just want to pick up a lot of frontline tanky heroes, and that's why they get the Dragonite as well as Ursa. They're able to just kind of dive in, kill your heroes, and take your towers afterwards with the dragon form. Right now the players are still picking up their heroes, still waiting on this Sand King player. He will not pick up his hero yet, so we can't really get right into the game, but comparing the drafts right now, I still favor Wings. It looks like they have the better draft. They now have the Storm Spirit as well for Lifestealer to infest. They can just make a lot happen, and they're really scary if they ever get ahead in this game. So VG.J has to be very careful of feeding away any unnecessary kills on the side of Wings, especially in their early game, because if Wings can get their snowball rolling, it's going to be very difficult for them to come back, as Dragonite is not notoriously pretty slow farmer. He's kind of a static hero. He's not really that comeback hero that you can rely on to just carry you the game, especially into the late game against a Lifestealer and Storm Spirit. And they will make a 5-man smoke play to the top lane, and they will ward out this small camp right here, but it doesn't look like they're able to catch anyone out, as Shadow as well as Innocence are able to kind of spot out the VG.J heroes and just walk themselves out there. I believe they were smoked themselves, and kind of just able to see it coming and walk themselves away before they get caught by any stuns or disables. And right now, even though there was an aggressive play made for the top lane, nothing will come of it, and they'll just end up trading runes, Storm Spirit getting bot as well as Dragonite getting top. But it looks like Wings will make an aggressive play on them top, as they have 3 heroes, and Rubik does go back to try to block, and they are able to secure both runes for themselves on the side of Wings. So a nice heads up play by them to realize that they were stronger in the top lane, and they're able to just push this Dragonite off the rune and secure 2 runes for themselves on 2 core heroes. And they do have this ward here, kind of interesting ward, not very common, but it will provide a lot of vision for the rune. It'll maybe help out the Earth Spirit, potentially picking off a hero that decides to go for the rune or something like that. And it looks like VG.J will decide to start out the game with an aggressive tri-lane with the Sand King, not the Ursa. And this is pretty scary lane, as Lifestealer gets stunned up, and he did not level Rage. He did level up Feast to try to get a better heads up in the lane, but he did not expect 2 supports here, and he will receive a lot of harass and have to salve up. He does have a poor man's shield, so I did I guess he did assume that he would receive some harass from some support, but I guess he did not expect all three heroes being here, as Ursa will be left alone to solo against the Slardar. Look at last hits right now, it's just a bit even so far. Look at the Life Stealer, and he's able to just edge out some last hits even in this aggressive lane, as he's gonna have the creep wave push up into his tower, and as long as he's able to secure those last hits under tower, he should just be fine. And once he gets the rage up, he should be very hard to kill in this lane. They do have 2 instant disables that can get him before he can rage, but as long as he kind of plays a bit cautious, doesn't get caught out, their damage output is not too high yet on VG.J. But just saying that, he does walk himself into the creep wave and he'll eat a heal bomb, and that'll do a ton of damage to him, and he's continued to take damage from Dazzle as well as Sand King right clicks, but he's going to be able to walk himself out there. He does not manage to hit level 2 yet, so still no point in that rage. Earth Spirit will take a bit of damage as well, trying to save their Life Stealer, and it looks like even though no kills will happen, VG.J will manage to stop the Life Stealer from farming and force him back to base. Earth Spirit will kill himself. If we look at the mid lane matchup, it looks like so far DK is actually able to beat out the Storm Spirit by a couple of CS as well as denies. But while I say that, top lane will fall, as it looks like Silencer was trying to just get some levels in the top lane. He does manage to hit 2, but he will get caught out by Rubik as well as Sand King and Dazzle and fall. Sand King will pick up a Poorman's Shield himself. And in the bot lane, surprisingly enough, even with the rotation with Earth Spirit in the bot, it looks like Ursa will manage to find pretty much a solo kill on the Slaughter. Not pretty much a solo kill, actually a solo kill. There's no one else in this lane. The rest of his heroes are on the top. So well played by the Ursa to find that kill. And it looks like Wings Gaming are not finding the best of the start that they were hoping for, as this aggressive lane from VG.J is really throwing them off, and this Ursa is just able to do very well against these melee heroes. And I'm missing more kills. Wow. Quality casting right here, guys. But this is not really meant to be a cast. It's more of an analysis video, replay commentary, whatever you want to call it. Probably transition into being a caster or something at some point. I do some play-by-play in this to get warmed up. But they missed that kill there. They do manage to find a kill. And who was it? Life Stealer. So this lane top paying off very well for VG.J, and they will go for a lift into stun on Shadow again as he TPs back into lane. And if he falls again, he's gonna be extremely far behind. And he does fall again, as he just TP back into the lane. He does not manage to pick up any items yet. He even buys more tangos for himself to try to survive the lane, but that instant disable from lift will get himself caught out, and he can't rage or do anything before he gets a ton of damage done to him. And even though he does manage to rage, he just gets right click down. Storm Spirit is forced to make a rotation to the top lane. He's not even 6 yet. He will hit 6 now, and with that they should be able to take out Fenrir on the Dazzle. So they do feed the Dazzle away as well as force a rotation from the Storm Spirit, but this Life Stealer is just way behind right now. If we look at net worth, he is just even behind his Slardar. And when I mentioned Slardar will die again in the bot lane, even with the rotation from Silencer. It looked like they tried to go aggressively on the Ursa, and Ursa will just turn it around and kill the Slardar. It was even before he popped his ultimate. He just popped it at the end there to survive the nuke from Silencer, to make sure. So right now it isn't looking too good for Wings Gaming, as this aggressive trial in the top will really throw them for a loop.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
And that's one problem of the Life Stealer Slaughter combo, is if you can't get the combo off, you can't get the levels, the farm on the Life Stealer, you can't get the blink on the Slaughter, you're not going to be able to make those plays. But they do have the Storm Spirit as backup, so he can kind of act as initiation before Slaughter is able to farm with his blink. And it doesn't look like he'll have it anytime soon. And while that was while the action was happening in the side lanes, it looks like Dragon Knight was able to just push into the mid lane. His blink was forced to rotate to the top lane, and he'll use that space to take out the mid tower. Wards will be placed up by the Radiant side. They have one right here and one in the mid lane. It looks like they were placed relatively recently, and on the Dire they put one near Roche to scout out any potential rotations from Ursa. If you can just walk in there, they'll make him have to use the smoke. He can't just walk in there for free and get the Aegis. He will pick up infused raindrops for himself. He does go for a relatively defensive build. Especially against a solo lane, he does not go for any poison or shock, and the fact that he managed to get 2 kills off without his slow really shows how powerful Ursa is against a melee hero like Slaughter. He's kind of man up against them. Even with a slow, Slaughter is just able to play a bit too aggressive on him a couple times, and he does manage to fall. It looks like Storm Spirit will make another rotation to the top lane, and this time it will be quite successful as they're able to pick off 2 heroes on the Rubik and the Sand King, but it will cost them 4 heroes. They'll put another ward right here to really defend their jungle, and Lifestealer being still quite far behind, able to catch up a bit, but still being behind the Sand King as well as the Dragon Knight by a significant amount. And that was overall the biggest problem with Wings draft. Is on paper they're very strong, but if they can't get their combination off, if they don't win their lanes, at least some of them, which I believe they lost pretty much all 3 lanes. Look at last hits and denies. I mean, Dragon Knight is able to take the mid tower from Storm because he had to rotate, and VG.J is doing very well, and they have to with this type of draft, as Wings still has a very dangerous draft, and if they start slacking at all, they start falling behind, maybe feed a couple kills away, even an Aegis to Storm or something like that, it's going to be very difficult for them to play against the heroes on the side of Wings once they get their farm and levels up. So Dragon Knight will make a rotation towards the bot lane as well as Rubik to push it in. Rubik is only level 4, he hasn't been able to find that much experience in the top lane, as he's really been able to utilize the pull or creeps 2 ball on an aggressive lane like that. You really only have this, and you're still sharing it with your teammates. If you do make that pull, it looks like they'll leave the Earth Spirit as well as the Slaughter to sap experience and defend the bot lane, and they don't really have the best pushing lineup without the Dragon form, and since Dragon Knight decided to just give up that push bot and rotate top, they decided to just abandon the push and go for a smoke gank. And I thought they might go for Roshan there, but instead they'll go for a kill on Silencer, and they're able to immediately burst them. Still no slow on Ursa, by the way. Kind of interesting build. Really, you want some points in it. It's a very valuable spell. It's a 5-second cooldown and allows you to chase down a lot of heroes, but I guess they don't really need it, as they're able to just instantly blow up that Silencer in that lift. But Ursa will fall. His Rubik will TP away and abandon him, and he'll get caught out by the haste on the Storm Spirit as well as a rotation from the Lifestealer. Looks like he was actually infested on the Slaughter, and Slaughter managed to sprint and stun the Ursa and kill him. And potentially they're looking to push at the bot lane, but probably not, as they're still far behind and they need to catch up on farm. They can't really go for pushes. That's just asking to walk into Sand King stun, into Ursa running in and just killing all your heroes. He does not have Epicenter yet, so they don't have to worry about that. And even if they do get Epicenter, they still have the Rage on the Lifestealer to tank it. But he's super under farm right now, and he just needs to catch up. Doesn't have anything actually, just phase boots. Storm Spirit will farm up. He is the most farmed hero in the game right now. His rotations to the top as well as down here does manage to pick off a couple kills. So right now he's doing best on his team, and all Wings has to do is just play it chill right now. They need to stem the bleeding from VG.J, kind of defend as many towers as they can. They don't really want to give them all for free. and as well as Roshan.
The dire
But
structures
right
for
now they're
now.
just on a catch-up mode, trying to get some farm on the silencer on the top lane, as well as Lifestealer in the mid lane, and they're leaving a couple of heroes to try to slow down the push. But they gotta watch out, just not get caught out by those heroes, just trying to stall the push. So VG.J will go directly into the Roche pit. Dragon form still up. He did pop it, I believe, while having an arcane rune, so we'll have a shorter cooldown for this one. Earth Spirit rolls in and tries to go for a play, but it gets immediately stunned up by a Dragon Knight, and he will just immediately fall. Now Storm Spirit is looking to make a play. Potentially he's going to go for a steal or something. He is using Remnants to get vision into the pit, and they're going to even go for an infest play in the mid lane. But Slaughter will get stunned up by the Sand King, and he will fall on the side. So Slaughter not being able to make any stuns happen or amplify any heroes. He does get it on the Dragon Knight, but that's it. Dragon Knight as well as Sand King. So he does get it on 2 heroes, but he is dead now. And the Amplify is running out, and that's an ultra kill for Ursa as they just decided to go for this Roche pit. But the Earth Spirit as well as the Slaughter just kind of get caught out by stuns, and they'll fall before really casting any spells. And there's only so much you can do with the Storm and a really underfarmed Lifestealer that just has a Helmet of Iron Will, not even Armlet. And so Ursa will pick up that ultra kill, and they'll get this Aegis unless Ice Ice goes for some insane play and steals it. But nope, he'll pick it up, and he does go for the Mask of Madness kind of race car Ursa build. He still has no points in Earthshock. He's really trusting his team to get the stuns off. He really cares, just wants that more attacks on overpower as well as damage from Fury Swipes. And they do have quite a bit of disable, so I'm not going to completely disagree with this build. Right now, Ice Ice is trying to get some levels bot, but he will eat a Blink Epicenter for it. And that's another usage of Epicenter. You'll see a lot of Sand Kings go for it. They really just use it for a solo kill. And it really opens up the map more, but that's just a level 6 Earth Spirit, so I'm not sure if it's entirely worth it. But since the playstyle of Sand King is more rotated around getting just the initiations off and follow up from your team instead of getting that huge team fight ult off. Just wants kind of stun for the Ursa to just hit people. He won't really care that it's on cooldown too much as his team is making their way towards the mid lane for a push. And Armlet picked up on Dragon Knights, and it looks like Dazzle will be going into mech. They're able to just melt this tower. Silencer is still just trying to get levels and farm up the top lane, and that's just how Wings is playing so far. It looks like Storm actually went down. I completely missed that. I was talking about something else. Looks like he got stunned up somehow by Dragon Knight, maybe lifted or something, and they're able to just burst him down, I guess. And it's not looking too well for Wings right now, as even though they had a decent draft in theory, they just lost the top lane too hard, and even the bot lane didn't go too well for them, as Slaughter is not the best matchup against a solo Ursa. And with hero like Earth Spirit, if you're just not simply able to get anything done in the early game, he kind of falls off. But right now, really good play from them, and as I said, the power on their draft is still in their team fight and their spell combinations. Able to get initiation off with that global silence, and able to pick up 2 quick pickups in the enemy support heroes, but they only managed to pick up the supports, so the cores kind of smelled that coming and able to get themselves out there, but the supports do get picked off. But that's a big cooldown of global silence to just get that, but it's something to get them back into this game, as Storm Spirit is getting closer and closer to his Orchid, or his Bloodstone, but it'll be a while until we get into an Orchid. And I'm not even sure if he'll go for that at that point in the game. He might have to go BKB or something to stop himself from getting immediately deleted every time he gets stunned. And even though he was at the top of net worth at some point in the game, he does fall behind a lot after that last fight, as Roche as well is being picked off in the mid lane right here. Slaughter is approaching his Blink Dagger, so we're giving him this top lane up here to farm it for himself, and he should be able to get it, as it doesn't look like VG.J is really going to go for an aggressive place up in the top lane anytime soon. Lifestealer will find space for his Armlet as well, and VG.J is looking to just push in this bot lane right here. Ursa will pick up a Diffusal Blade, allowing to disable
Guess what's
heroes as well
happening
as
now.
kind of even burn mana, which kind of is annoying against all of Wings' heroes, really.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business. Dire
So
just
they'll get
couldn't
a
save
free
that
bot
bottom
tower, and they'll rotate to the mid lane with the Ursa to potentially get a pick off here. He does not actually have Blink, so he's not able to pick off anyone with that. He's just gonna run up and run into Lifestealer. Lifestealer just TP away. He does not have a basher, so they won't be able to cancel it. Slaughter will finally be able to pick up his Blink Dagger. He managed to farm a couple waves top and pick it up. And let's see if they're going to go for a play with it. Immediately they do, as Lifestealer infests them in the pool. And let's see where they go, as it looks like VG.J is going to make a rotation towards the top lane. Once Dragon form, it just ends right now, so they'll have 50 seconds. So they're going to farm up a bit and make their play up towards this play. Dire does put a ward here, but it doesn't help too much because they weren't really able to defend
What's with
this,
all
as
the
they still
scribbling?
needed their item up. Slaughter will make a smoke gank happen, as they're going to head their way up to the top lane, but I believe they got scanned out. I believe this is a Radiant scan, and they spotted out, but Sand King won't be too lucky, as he managed to get caught, and with a global silence they're going to be able to pick him off. But right now they need to work on their escape route, as Lifestealer does not have Infest to get out of here, as he did use it to get into Lifestealer, or into the Slardar. But a nice crush from Slaughter is able to stop VG.J's heroes from chasing, and they're able to get their Lifestealer away. It looked like it was going to die there, but very nice stun from Slaughter, able to just save his friend there. And that would have been very bad if they just traded a 1-for-1, using Global Silence to just take out a Sand King. And losing your Lifestealer like that is not good, as he's already far behind. They do manage to put some wards up as well with that smoke, and able to kind of spot out this area right here, because most likely VG.J is going to play up in this area, as they want to secure this tower. Roshan is dead, so there's nothing for them really down here. As I say, that Sand King will TP the bot lane to push it out, as quite a big wave is pushing in. So VG.J is split right now. With the next Infest up, it might look like they potentially can go for another gank. They won't have Global Silence to really secure that. Dazzle might be in there to hit a grave, as well as Rubik with his lift can be quite annoying for them. But it is still cooling down 50 seconds on that, and Sand King will just walk back to his team after pushing out this bot wave a bit, and instead Wings will make their way towards the bot lane and push it out themselves, and hopefully be able to secure this tower, as it doesn't look like they want to really contest this tier 2 up here, especially without Global Silence. So they will make a play on the Sand King. As I said, he was split up from his team, but he'll able to just Sandstorm and get away. And with a rotation in from Rubik, it looks like Lifestealer is in trouble. But another nice stun from Slaughter, able to save him just a bit, and they're able to pick off the Sand King. But it will be a 1-for-1 trade this time, as Lifestealer will fall.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
Ursa is using a lot of diffusal charges here, and he's able to just find a kill on the Slaughter as well. But meanwhile, Dazzle as well as Dragon Knight are able to take that top tier 2 and even do some damage to the tier 3. But while all of that was happening, Storm Spirit as well as his supports are able to get a tower down here. But right now their Rax looks like they're in trouble. Slaughter will even have to buy back, as Dragon Knight and Ursa are just wailing on their base. Dragon Knight is falling low, and with the Magnetize, oh nope, he has BKB, so he's able to just man up, and with Global Silence, they should be able to get this Ursa, and they do pick up the Ursa, but Dragon Knight's able to just walk out with this BKB pickup. He did fall quite low, but with BKB, he's going to be able to get away. Dazzle will grave himself. He is close to mech, I think. It might be on the courier. No, he does not have it, so that will actually set him back a bit for his mech, and that's Global Silence use in return for a kill on the Ursa as well as Dazzle, and they do lose the Earth Spirit for it. He does go in there and try to cast Magnetize, and unfortunately Dragon Knight had his BKB up and has managed to get away and find a kill on him as well. I think we actually got the kill. Yeah, it was the Dragon Knight. So So Storm Spirit does pick up his Bloodstone, and it looks like he will be going into the Orchid. Really good item, allows him to silence up the Dazzle and kill him before he can grave anyone. And it's the item that he kind of needs, but he does need a defensive item as well, because right now if he gets stunned up, gets lifted, anything, he's going to get completely burst down by the Ursa, if the Ursa can find his blink on him. And Ursa does go for the Diffusal build, and right now he's building into a Yasha, it looks like, so he's going for that Super Race Card build. He wants to be fast, he wants to be able to immediately counter-initiate, or follow up his team, not counter-initiate, but I guess be counter-initiate as well. Just wants to be really active around the map, be really fast, be able to move around, because right now high ground looks kind of difficult for them if all of Wing's spells are up, so their options are to get Roshans and get pickoffs. I don't see VG.J trying to just raw force a high ground push, potentially even with Aegis, as they don't really have the best high ground heroes. The only one being able to really hit the tower is Dragonite. I mean, I guess Ursa, if he went into the Deso Vanguard build, I see Aoi going, he can potentially do damage. But instead he went for this build instead. It's really more fight oriented and chase down oriented. Really wants to take those team fights outside his outside the enemy base, where he allows a lot of space for him to have movement and just chase people down, and not really dive into their friggin' tier 4s or anything like that. While they do get the Roshan off, it looks like Wings will make a play themselves, and with that stun initiation from Slaughter as well as the global silence, they're able to pick off the Dazzle immediately, so he's not going to be able to save anyone. They're going to be able to take out Ursa as well, and his Aegis is going to fall, and he's going to look like he's going to die again right here. He will ult off to purge the amplified damage, but that's not going to save his life, and they're going to pick off Sand King as well in that engagement. So really, really nice play by Wings. They know the enemy got Roshan, and they know that after you get Roshan, you really kind of like walk back here, farm your jungle, know that they're not really in a position to just force anything yet, and they're able to catch them on the retreat, plan a ward here for Vision as well, and pick off 3 heroes as well as the Aegis. So really utilizing this Storm Bloodstone as well as their Global Silence and Slaughter and Lifestealer combo to the fullest. And just really nice combination from them, able to just stun in Global Silence as well as all of the disable from Earth Spirit, just taking out VG.J's heroes before they're able to respond. And that's the power of Wings draft. As I said, VG.J has to be careful. They did manage to secure a very good early game for themselves, as well as 2 Aegises so far, but they did lose this one without any trade. And Storm Spirit will be picking himself up Orchid finally, and a pretty decent timing considering the bad time they had this game, in the early game. And it looks like VG.J will be the ones making the play this time, but Lifestealer is able to just rage and run away. After he gets diffused up by Ursa, they won't actually manage to get the stun on him with the Dragon Tail, and they'll make a counter play right now. And this is Wings Gaming right now. They're not afraid to strike back when you least expect it. And that's exactly what happened here, and that was a huge play for them, as Lifestealer is not even healed up at all. He doesn't even have Infest off on cooldown. But they're going to make an immediate jump onto Dragonite mid, because Dragonite's BKB was on cooldown. They did use it in that fight, and with a Global Silence, they should be able to finish off, and they do manage to take out the Dragonite. The tank is here on the side of VG.J, and VG.J right now has to be troubled, as they thought they had this game in the bag, as they were able to secure a very good early game, into the mid game even. Huge lead for themselves, but right now it's falling back into the favor. That was over 8,000 gold lead or something, but now it's going straight down into the favor of Wings. And the more and more gold and levels that Wings gets up, the harder and harder it is for them, because as I said, on paper, Wings draft is a lot more powerful in team fights, and VG.J is really reliant on the snowball, and as soon as that snowball stops rolling for them, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to take team fights.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business.
Ursa even expending all of his defusal charges, so right now it kind of has useless items in inventory right now. This really does nothing except for give him mana burn. It looks like they'll decide to take a fight here, and they manage to blow up the Earth Spirit immediately, but Sand King will get blown up as well. So it will be a 1-for-1 trade offlaner for support. It may look like VG.J is pursuing, but this might be bad for them, as that was a bit of a feint by Wings as they just jump back in there. Storm Spirit will fall, so that feint actually didn't work out too well for them. They thought they could do more damage, but fortunately they did not. And even though Storm will immediately respawn, they'll manage to feed 3 kills away there. So that was kind of a feint by Wings to kind of pretend back and jump back in. But Storm was already a bit low, and he did not have enough mana to really get away, and he will fall. So that will be a 3-for-1 trade. Storm Spirit, Earth Spirit, and Silencer for Sand King. And that will... he will lose a lot of Bloodstone charges for that, so not too good for Wings, but they're still in a good position considering where they were around like 10 minutes ago. And Dragonite will go for a Blink Dagger, allowing him to really catch at that Storm, as he still has not picked up his defensive item. But as this Storm gets more and more items, it's going to be a lot harder for him to get caught out. This Ursa is nowhere near like a Basher or something like that. He's still going to the Fusel Blade, and the Fusel Blade really does not help you pick out a Storm. It'll help you if you have some other initiation onto him, and it'll burn his mana a bit, as well as slow him. I mean, they don't really have any silence or anything like that, so slow isn't really useful against Storm Spirit. They really need a stun for that. Looks like Wings is making a play right here, and they will pick off the Sand King, trying to farm up. It looks like he just wanted his Force Staff, but he'll feed his life away for it, as they're able to just walk into here, find him, and pick him off with a really long range jump from Storm. Well, not too long range, but a medium range jump, as well as initiation from Slaughter and Lifestealer. And that's what makes Wings draft scary, as they're able to just pick off heroes that are alone. And VG.J pretty much has to 5-man if Wings heroes are not showing on the map, as at any time Lifestealer could just infest up Storm Spirit or Slardar and just jump on your face, and there's nothing really to do about it. And if they really even have to, they can just expend Global Silence as well, and there's then you really have nothing to do about it. I guess Sand King does have Yules now to stop the Global Silence, but that's not going to stop Storm from just continually pursuing you, as he's able to just use his Zip Zap Zoom and just jump you down. And they don't have the best disable for him. They do have a bunch of instant disables, but they don't have anything that initially lasts long enough where Storm is afraid for his life. They kind of have to combo them together in 2 damage from the Earth, so they have to play very coordinated for him to fall. And if they're not, he's able to just have free reign right in this game. It was a lot scarier for him a couple minutes ago when he didn't have so many Bloodstone charges and levels, but now he's kind of a force to be reckoned with, and they'll make an initiation onto VG.J with a Global Silence follow-up, and it looks like Slaughter will fall to the Dragonite, as he will just pop BKB and man up, and there'll also be a buyback on Rubik as well as Ursa, and they managed to take out Storm Spirit as well. Lifestealer is still alive, he still has Rage, so let's see how many kills he can get before falling, and they don't actually manage to take out the Dragonite. Or he will fall to the end, and the Silencer nukes, and they'll take out Earth Spirit as well, so that's 2 buybacks from the side of VG.J to take a whole 5-man wipe on the side of Wings. That will finish off the Force Staff for Sand King, and Rubik has had his Force Staff, and Redazzle has had his mech. But Ursa's even further behind in farm now. This is not very nice looking items for Ursa. He is 15, 4, and 5, but his item and net worth is suffering, as he had to buy back there. And even though they did get the kills, Ursa is not too great in the late game against heroes like Storm, and against Lifesteal he's pretty decent all game, all
Radiant's top tower is in
potentially even
bad
if it
shape.
goes into late game, because he does build into Basher, able to control up the life stealer. But for a Storm, he's gonna have problems with. The Storm is just gonna be able to evade him,
Top tower is under
and
fire.
you see Ursa's even go into like the sheep build and other things like that against Storm, because you just need to get him locked down. And his team does not really have another sheep builder other than Sand King, but he's not too farm. So right now, Roshan is about to respawn in 30 seconds. I say that if Wings is able to secure that, they're going to put themselves in a very strong position in this game, as an Aegis on Storm pretty much guarantees that they can win a team fight for sure, regardless of how it goes. They can be as aggressive as they want, and that's just how they've been playing this game, with a really aggressive play right here with the Slaughter and Lifestealer bomb into Global Silence. They do feed all 5 heroes away for it, but they do force 2 enemy buybacks. So if they're able to take another fight like that, there will be no buyback on Ursa as well as Rubik to defend. That team fight really boiled down to the Dragon Knight just being able to tank up all the damage on the side of Wings with his BKB and Armlet, and just being able to dish out a lot of damage before falling. And with the buybacks, they're able to just clean them up. So it looks like VG.J is making a smoke play for themselves. They know Roshan is up, so they're able to pick off any kills right now, and they do manage to pick off the Storm, which is huge. So this should be he does not have buyback actually, so this is probably high ground for them. We're not sure if they scouted Roshan yet, but if they do, there's a DD sitting right outside for them.
Dire structures right now.
So they're going to be able to take that down incredibly quickly if they want to. And Ursa will be going to the BKB. This will just be a casual Yasha. He'll get initiated on by Slaughter, and Lifestealer will pop out, and he's going to have to be saved up by Grave as Lifestealer pops out and starts wailing on him with the minus armor from the Salt Couriers as well as Desolator. It takes a ton of damage. And even Dragon Knight speak word now, as there's a ton of minus armor on the side of VG.J with the Assault Carrier's pickup from the Lifestealer. Storm will make a long jump and find the Rubik here, as well as the Sand King. He'll get silenced up, and it looks like Sand King will fall as well. He does Yules himself up, and will be able to get away. He just managed to stun to the side, and that's the elusiveness of Sand King with the Yules. Very close on that kill right there. If Slaughter was just a little bit sooner, he could have followed up that stun from the Storm Spirit and finish off the Sand King. Fortunately, he was not quite there in time, and Sand King was able to get away, but Daz was not too lucky as he was able to pick off right there. And with a ton of minus armor, they were able to finish off Roche with that DD as well. And that's Aegis and Cheese for the side of Wings. So even though they got a nice Storm pick off right here, it didn't pan out too well as they tried to force high ground, and Ursa was kind of initiated on it, and Storm had the amount of time to respawn with Ursa being in trouble right here. VG.J tried to make a retreat, but being chased down by Storm Spirit, they weren't able to get away completely, and they fed 2 quick kills away to the side of Wings, which transitioned into pretty much a free Roshan for them with that DD rune sitting outside the pit. And there will be a regen as well for Storm Spirit when you see they do scout it out with the courier here, and he looks like he's going into Shivas. So I'll help him tank up a bit more against the the Ursa, as well as the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight does pick up Assault Courier, so they kind of have the counter armor to the Lifestealer Assault Courier, so it kind of just nullifies each other out pretty much. Storm's Bloodstone charges aren't looking too great, as he just did get pick off, but he does have an Aegis of Immortal now, so should be able to secure a couple kills with that and not be really afraid to just throw his life away and respawn and have full HP and mana ready to fight again. So with the Aegis, Wings will posture themselves up the top lane to finally push down this tier 1 tower. They do manage to get it for free. VG.J does not want to contest right now, especially for a tier 1 tower. They're just going to run through the enemy jungle and D-ward. Sand King does get a gem for himself, while Dragon Knight is just pushing out the mid lane. So Wings will get 2 free tower pickups. It doesn't look like VG.J wants to defend at all. potentially game losing right now if they take a bad fight outside their base. So they're just gonna wait until the high ground if Wings decides to go for it. But I don't see Wings going for a high ground play, especially not forcing it. They got themselves into this game so far, back into this game so far. They're going to continue to play it like how they've been playing. Just stay back a bit, get their farm back up, and capitalize on VG.J's rotations on the map when they leave, and find good initiations off, and take good team fight with Global Silence, and win that team fight, and then transition into a push. So Earth Spirit will be sent to the bot lane to handle this creep wave because VG.J did push out the bot lane while top was going on. And he will get a bit of farm and levels here. And he does manage to pick himself up a full Aghanims. Holy shit, I didn't know he was that farmed. He has a full Aghanims as well as a blink. So with that, potentially they can even go for a high ground push as he can just blink in and just kind of like stone someone and pull them out. Kind of like a Bat Rider, pseudo Bat Rider that can provide a decent initiation for them, and with the Global Silence, there's really nothing you can do about it if it's up. So Wings is looking super scary right now, and they do smoke up themselves as 5. It looks like VG.J was looking for something, but Wings was all missing off the map, so they just decide for the better of it and not really smoke into darkness, and they just back off right here, and they put a nice ward right here, but they're not going to be able to see Wings coming in as they are smoked up, and Slaughter does try to blink in, but he actually unfortunately won't find anyone. Global Silence will be used, but there is a BKB on Ursa right now, and Slaughter will fall, and he will lose his gem. He will buy back and try to make it back to this fight. Earth Spirit will fall as well. Not really the best usage of his Aghanims, as I don't think he even used it that fight before falling. Gets stunned up by the Dragonite and just immediately deleted by the Ursa. Storm Spirit is falling low, but he still has Aegis. Dragonite is low as well, and he's still able to tank this up. I'm toggling it up. Slaughter will be able to rejoin the fight, but he's still not able to finish off the Dragonite. Escaping to the left. The Sand King escaping up to the top lane. They're able to find the Rubik in the back, and Dragonite's able to get himself out there. Lifestealer falling low as well, but he's able to armlet toggle and survive it. So they do manage to kill 4 heroes technically on the side of Wings, including the Aegis, and only lose 3 on their side, with Dragonite as well as Sand King being able to get away. Dragonite escaping up down to the bot, and Sand King escaping up top. And they just didn't have quite the mana on the Storm Spirit to chase that far. He does not have Aegis anymore, so they just don't want to overplay it. It's potentially a buyback coming back in. I'm not sure if Ursa actually has it. Ursa does have it now, so they still have to be careful of that. It did go off cooldown now. Now Storm will just ward up with the gem that he acquired from that fight. I believe it was their own team's gem, so the gem was dropped and re-picked up by their team, so they didn't lose the gem. Sand King also has his gem, of course. He didn't lose his, he didn't die in that fight, and unfortunately that was just not the best of initiation from Slaughter, as he just kind of blink crushed nothing. They expected him to be in this area, but they were a little further back than they expected, and he blink crushed nothing and had to be bailed out by the Global Silence, but he still managed to die and had to buy back for it as well. So right now Ursa does have BKB, and Dragonite's BKB is 5 seconds, so Ursa's BKB is 9 seconds, so they kind of hit a power spike for that fight, and that's hard to really not completely lose it to those Wings, even with the Aegis on Storm. Shadow will actually be going into the Daedalus, so he's going for that burst. They need something to burst down the Dragonite, because he's actually been quite a problem in the fight, just able to just survive through it and just stun a lot of heroes. Even just his 5-second BKB, he's quite tanky. And looks like Wings got themselves in too deep right now, as Storm Spirit as well as Earth Spirit will fall. And again, this Dragonite just being too tanky for them with the this Assault Cuirass pickup, he's able to just tank a lot of the enemy as well as provide that valuable Dragon Tail stun with his Blink Dagger, allowing the Ursa to just chase down targets and delete them from the game. Ursa will fall at the end of the fight, but that will be a 4-for-1 trade, well worth it for the side of VG.J. They do have very good vision in this area, so not surprising that they take a good fight there. Looks like Wings just kind of tried to pull the trigger and they went in too deep and got themselves killed. Now Dragon Knight will be building himself into a Chrysalis himself. It might be a Bloodthorn. I'm assuming it will be a Bloodthorn, as that's the item you really want to go against a Storm, even though he does have Black King Bar. Once that expires, if he gets Bloodthorned up, he's going to be able to just get melted. It still could be a Daedalus, you never know, they just might want that extra damage, because even though Ursa's already dealing a lot of damage, if Dragon Knight starts dealing damage as well, because he's not dying in these fights, he's tanky. With the freaking weave on the Dazzle, level 15, about to almost hit level 16 now, he's just been able to just tank up these fights and just be that frontliner that VG.J needs so that Ursa can deal out the damage. And the problem is, if Wings is not finding the best initiation possible, like potentially on Rubik or Dazzle, they're just not being able to take these fights very cleanly, and Dragon Knight's able to survive, and they're trading a bunch of kills for it. So Dragon Knight will indeed go for the Bloodthorn, and with the Blink Bloodthorn, that is quite intimidating, but Storm does have his BKB, so he's able to get away from that. If he really needs to, he can use a charge. But the Bloodthorn pickup with a relatively low cooldown, definitely, if you're able to force out the Storm BKB with your Bloodthorn, it's definitely well worth it. So both teams are kind of playing a little cautious right now. They're still posturing. They're actually about to meet up with each other. So it's not too cautious, but they're still 5-manning. They really want to get the nice jump on each other, and VG.J just kind of goes for it. They usually do that Bloodthorn in the Storm, and he gets stunned up. They do have a Basher on Ursa, but he does manage to BKB and blink away. Slaughter will make a reinitiation in, but all of VG.J's heroes are super farmed right now and tanky, and they don't manage to even get close to taking anyone out, and Earth Spirit will fall. Lifestealer will re-infest the Slaughter, and maybe they'll see what they can do. Slaughter is even forced to go Ghost Scepter to survive, as when he blinks in, he's going to eat a stun, and Ursa's just been deleting him. And speaking of deleting, that Ursa just got deleted, as well as the Rubik, as crit from Lifestealer managed to just remove Ursa from the map. 1 second he was there, the second he wasn't. And Ursa will spawn, or Aegis will, or Roshan will spawn. Ursa, Aegis, Roshan will spawn just in time for the Wings Gaming to take it, and it will go down incredibly fast with the amp damage on the Slaughter, as well as all the minus armor they have. So again, Storm Spirit will take the Aegis, and Lifestealer will take the cheese. This is the second cheese in the game. Lifestealer will infest the Slaughter again. They did do it under a ward, so VG.J should see this coming. Slaughter does just blink crush the creeps in the mid lane to get the creeps pushing into VG.J's base, and with 3 dead heroes, if alright, Lifestealer will just jump out so they can do tower damage. So his infest is on cooldown for another 20 seconds. But it looks like they just want to take out the tower and potentially deal damage to the racks. This is healable damage, so if they don't finish it, or they're forced to back away, but nope, they do manage to take it out, as they have a lot of minus armor, and with that, they're able to take out the racks incredibly quickly. And before Ursa is even able to spawn, they just lose out on a mid-racks. and VG.J is just questioning what happened there. They just got caught blindsided by that slaughter, and the crit on the lifestealer just bursted the earth before he was even to ult, and then Rubik was just standing there as well, and before he even knew what happened, he was also dead. And then Roshan spawned at the exact time as well, and just bit of luck as well as heads up play by Wings to just go for that play right there, and they're able to get 2 easy pickoffs into a Roshan as well as a Rax now. And that's the strength of the Slaughter. It's scary in all stages of the game because the value of just having that 20 armor reduction is very powerful when you have any type of physical damage at all. Lifestealer will be infested to the storm now, so if any hero just gets caught outside the base, you get those crits off with the Bloodthorn as well, and they're just not going to be in the game for very long. The Lifestealer does decide not to jump out as the storm jumps in. They're just going to go for like a little feint play on the Ursa, potentially just poke at him a bit. And they're gonna go for some dewarding. This gem is on silencer now, as the other heroes on the side of Wings are kind of slotted, so they don't have space for it. And they don't really need it for detection or anything, so it's not too bad on him. Usually when you you kind of have like a backline hero like this, you want the gem to be with someone who's actually going to jump in, but it's not like VG.J has any really invis heroes other than the Sand King. So Storm will BKB up and jump right in. Keep in mind he still does have the Aegis. He is falling quite low, but Lifestealer is kind of stranded. He's forced to pop the cheese up, as well as the Earth Spirit pulling him out with the J-Magnetic Grip. That's another thing that he can do with the Aghanim Scepters. Global Silence will be used, and there's going to be a full team fight in this bot lane right now, and Dragon Knight will actually fall along with Ursa. And that's just the damage from the Bloodthorn as well as the Daedalus by the Lifestealer. Finally just being able to just burst down the Dragon Knight. I believe he did not have the weave on him, and he's able to just get caught out and blown up. Lifestealer might be saying the same to him right now, as he got stunned up by the Sand King, but he indeed got himself force-staffed out, and Sand King will fall, feeding another gem away. Ursa did buy back for this, and he will be Bloodthorned up, and he will fall as well. Shallow Grave not being on cooldown yet, and it looks like Dazzle will fall, and they're just going to call GG off of that. This Dragon Knight did not have buyback, and him getting bursted out there was just really bad for them, as he was the front line for them in so many fights, putting out the stuns, putting out that damage from the dragon form, and with this fight, sadly, the items on the side of Wings was just superior. They were able to burst him down, and without him being their front line, Storm, Spirit, and Slaughter can just run free reign over their team. So another impressive victory from the side of Wings. This time it was a bit of a comeback. They did fall behind in the early game quite badly. They did lose their top lane as well as their mid lane and even their bot lane, so every lane lost, but Wings Gaming is not known for their lane winning. They're known for their team fights, they're known for their rotations, and Storm Spirit did just that. His lane wasn't going too well mid. I mean, I'd say he went even, so of all the lanes they went the best. Their best matchup was in the mid lane, where Storm Spirit was able to find decent farm against the Dragon Knight. They traded farm pretty much evenly, but he did lose their tower because he was forced to make a couple rotations to the top lane to help out his safe lane, which was doing awfully. This Lifestealer was way behind in farm. He pretty much had nothing around the 10-minute mark, just boots and maybe part of his armlet, if anything. But with those rotations, they're able to at least get something out of the top lane, able to get a couple counter kills. Not too much, but the game really changed up once they really got all their levels up, their core items up, and even with like a 8,000 gold deficit, they're able to take team fights relatively evenly, if not slightly advantageously, and with that, they're able to come back into the game. And a couple of Roshans later, they're able to secure the victory. Just well played by Wings, reading their timing. You see that when VG.J was their strongest, they kind of just avoided the fights, and VG.J didn't really have a lineup that was suited to just force like maybe high ground or towers that fast. Dragon Knights kind of takes them down a bit slowly and methodically. It's not gonna melt towers like a Drow or anything. And Wings Gaming found the timing to just avoid VG.J for a bit, give them a couple towers, give them a Roshan even, and find core items on the Slaughter, Storm Spirit, and Lifestealer to just get in fighting shape. And once they had that, they're able to get good initiations off from Slaughter into Global Silence and find the good team fights. And one notable play was when they gave VG.J the Aegis, and right after that they decided to go for a smoke play, and they didn't care. They knew VG.J was a little low from that Aegis. I'm not sure if they got scouting from Ward or something, but they definitely read that they were on the retreat. They weren't going to go aggressive with that Aegis. They needed to heal up or something, and they caught them right at the bottom tier 2 with very well timed and well maneuvered smoke gank, getting Slaughter Crush on, I believe, Dazzle as well as Ursa, and just immediately bursting down that Dazzle. And with follow up from Global Silence as well as Earth Spirit, they were able to pick up 3 quick kills there, including the Aegis. And that was just a big play by them. VG.J definitely needed to utilize all the Aegises that they could claim, and with that wasted Aegis there, really put Wings back into the game. And just kind of starting from there, they were able to mount a comeback. And even though they took a couple of not too good team fights, mediocre at best, they're able to clear it out at the end just with the superior late game draft as well as team fighting draft. And they'll survive through the dangerous stages of the game, and because of that, they're able to secure a quick victory. Not actually quick, but 48 minutes from when they started mounting their comeback. It didn't take too long for them. They didn't really have to drag this out too much longer. Took them 2 Aegises and cheeses, and they were able to secure the victory. Well played by Wings Gaming. Hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned for more content. See you guys later. Peace.